Their full title is Associazione Calcio Milan. But in the wider world of football, the simpler version, AC Milan, evokes images of greatness. They have a trophy room to be proud of, a room reflecting the exploits of some of the sport's most illustrious figures. And as the 80s became the 90s, 3 European Cup wins testified to a style of play that hugely influenced football at home and abroad. In the 1960s, Milan won the European Cup twice, but the next 2 decades brought little to cheer for fans of the Rossoneri. Everything changed in 1986 when the media tycoon and future politician Silvio Berlusconi became president of a club that just 4 years previously were in the 2nd division and had earlier been found guilty of match fixing. In 1987, Berlusconi appointed Arrigo Sacchi as manager, a decision that surprised many.
Berlusconi made a real Italian story come true. He'd given a Ferrari to a complete stranger.
Sacchi's Serie B team Parma had eliminated Milan from the Coppa Italia the previous year.
They asked me, how can you coach winners if you've never won anything yourself? And I said, I never knew you had to be a horse to be able to train one.
He was a bit of a surprising choice, in the sense that he hadn't had much experience. He'd coached Parma in Serie B and done a good job, but he was a coach who knew very little.
Despite the skepticism, the unproven 41-year-old was about to shake up Italian football.
The arrival of Arrigo Sacchi was fundamental for us, for the club, for Milan. After so many years of mediocre finishes.
As Italians, and because of our football culture, we are prepared to defend and then go on the counter-attack. He wanted the complete opposite.
Dutchman Ruud Gullit was a major part of Sacchi's revolution. Gullit was signed for a world record fee equivalent to $10 million.
It was crazy. I never felt it was like a weight on my shoulders, the amount of money that they paid for me. It was a new adventure. It was something I always dreamt of.
Gullit was joined by his Dutch international teammate Marco van Basten, transferred from Ajax.
AC Milan was a very traditional club who were in the years before had some problems. And there was a new president who wanted to make history, and he was really eager to win something. He had the power and also the money to realize something really big.
Gullit was the leader. He had a very strong character. For me, he was number one, and he helped me a lot to change the team's mentality. In Italy, you score a goal and everyone defends the lead, and I would say, no. When we score a goal, we keep on attacking. Van Basten was the best of them all, the classic case of the icing on the cake.
But plagued by injury during his debut season, Van Basten scored only 3 times in Serie A. Yet Milan played a style of football essentially foreign to Italy, a country best known for a cautious approach to the game.
I saw that all the great teams, in order to be great, had something in common. They all looked to dominate on the pitch, dominate play, and control the game at all times. This was my aim. But my greatest objective was to make people enjoy themselves.
It's fantastic that we played new football, a different type to what was usually seen in Italy. So for us, it was pleasing to play a style of football that appealed to the fans. Not only ours, but other teams as well.
With 3 matches left of the 1987-88 domestic league season, Milan visited leaders Napoli.
We were 1 point off the lead. We had to go to Napoli, and there were 90,000 of their supporters there, and Napoli had to win to virtually seal the title.
Milan went to the top of Serie A with a 3-2 win, thanks to 2 goals from Pietro Paolo Virdis and 1 from the returning Marco van Basten.
The Napoli fans applauded us at the end of the match, and that meant we were putting on a show that people enjoyed.
To become champions, Milan needed only a draw on the final day.
We went there convinced that we wouldn't lose the title. The stadium was full of excited Milan fans. It's an occasion I'll never forget.
Away to Como, Milan took the lead after just 2 minutes through leading scorer Virdis. Como equalised, but the draw was enough. Milan were champions of Italy for the first time since 1979.
I hadn't won anything up to then, so I had no idea what it was like to win the Scudetto. It gave me immense satisfaction to win it. It was perhaps the greatest feeling I've ever experienced.
And the city's black and red half celebrated in style.
The Como game was a party that ended at the San Siro. Since the cities are so close, Como and Milan, we went back and celebrated after the game at our own stadium, the San Siro.
The best thing about that day was the evening. I remember the San Siro being full, between 70 and 80,000 people who were waiting to greet us to do a lap of honour and thank us. And we thanked them for all their support during the season.
That summer, the Netherlands were instrumental in that success. Frank Rijkaard was the next to arrive in Milan.
I joined the team at the right moment, and Sacchi, he was the leader of the orchestra, and he made the team play some very good music. Rijkaard was a phenomenal midfielder, not always as professional as I wanted him to be, but a truly formidable player.
I have to say, out of the 3 Dutch players, he was the most complete. Rijkaard was the most versatile player in the team.
He had everything. He knew how to defend, knew how to attack, scored goals. Rijkaard's arrival completed a great squad.
Milan had thick fog to thank for rescuing their 88-89 European Cup campaign at the second round stage. They were trailing to Red Star Belgrade when the second leg was abandoned.
Our story began there because if it wasn't for the fog, we wouldn't have won that game. For us, it was a helping hand from above, from our leader.
The rearranged match ended level after extra time, so a penalty shootout ensued. Giovanni Galli saved Red Star's 4th penalty. If Rijkaard scored, Milan were through.
It was there that our story began, and like anything, you need a bit of fortune.
There have been many memorable occasions at the San Siro, but few more so than the second leg of the European Cup semi-final against Real Madrid, a match still vividly recalled.
We were a bit daunted, but the true satisfaction is that we did something epic. That Real Madrid team was a great one.
After 18 minutes, Carlo Ancelotti put Milan ahead on the night and 2-1 in front on aggregate.
I didn't score many goals during my career because I didn't have that many chances. But during that game, I played a bit further up the pitch. I had some good chances and I took one of them, and it gave me great satisfaction.
That team was different from other Italian teams because it always wanted more. We were 2 up and wanted another. 3-0, we wanted 4-0. 4-0, we wanted to score a fifth, and if the match had gone on, we would have wanted more. It was a fantastic occasion for us. For me, it was the moment when Milan astonished the world of football.
We played them off the pitch. It was like we were playing a training match.
That's where we opened everyone's eyes and proved that the team was back in the European elite again.
Sacchi's Milan team played a 4-4-2 formation with the emphasis on attack, but in keeping with Italian tradition, they built from the back. Right back Tassotti, centre-backs Franco Baresi and Alessandro Costacurta, and left-back Paolo Maldini formed the cornerstone of much of Milan's success.
4 players were together for so many years. 10 years, and that was very important.
The 4-man midfield provided creativity and flair that allowed Ruud Gullit and Marco van Basten to score the majority of Milan's goals. This was the lineup for Milan's first European Cup final since their 1969 victory, and their fans travelled en masse to Barcelona to see them face Steaua Bucharest of Romania.
It was the first final and had something that these days is probably impossible. A stadium filled with red and black, up against maybe just 300 or 400 Steaua fans.
It's impossible to lose here, because if you see all these people, all these crowd, that was, I think, something very emotional.
Baresi asked me, what if we lose? And I replied, we can't lose. In the dressing room, everyone had their heads down like this. I went around and touched every player on the head. I told them, you should have only one thing to worry about. Play like you can. If we do that, then we won't lose.
We looked into each other's eyes and said, we can't fail.
I asked the players that afternoon what they thought, and Gullit said, we'll attack them from the first minute until we have no more energy.
Milan took the lead their domination deserved through Ruud Gullit.
That was the perfect match. If you watch Milan against Steaua on TV today, and you're with a coach who wants to play a 4-4-2 formation with his team, that game is the perfect example.
9 minutes later, Marco van Basten added a second.
Every player who performed with the team reached a very, very high level, and not only individually but as a team.
I told them at 3-0, let's go for more.
2 minutes after half-time, Milan did just that. Marco van Basten scored his second of the game.
It was such an unbelievable result for us. In fact, we took our foot off the accelerator at 4-0.
At last, Milan were once again champions of Europe.
When we won the Cup for the first time, I experienced something I'd never experienced before in life or in football. And it's something I recommend for everyone to try. Waking up the next morning with that sweet taste of success in your mouth.
And in December that year, Milan took on South American champions Atlético Nacional of Colombia in Tokyo for the Intercontinental Cup.
Berlusconi always said he wanted to take Milan to the top of the football world. And we had to win that game to become the best in the world.
We won a difficult game, with a goal from Ivani 1 minute from the end of extra time.
It was extraordinary. First the Scudetto, then the European Cup, then the Intercontinental Cup. It was an achievement that no one could have imagined or believed a year and a half earlier.
But at the beginning of the 1989-90 season, Ruud Gullit suffered a serious knee injury. He would play only twice in Serie A. Without Gullit, Milan's defence of the European title once again pitted them against Real Madrid, this time in the second round.
They were very angry, because we always knocked them out of competitions. They even lost against us in friendlies. Every time they met Milan, they'd lose, so that was their last chance.
A 2-0 home victory was to reach the semi-finals, where they faced another European heavyweight, Bayern Munich.
We won the first leg at home 1-0.
For the return, we were missing 5 first-choice players.
They lost 2-1 in Munich, but reached the final again thanks to Stefano Borgonovo's crucial away goal. The Austrian capital, Vienna, played host to the final. Milan's opponents were Benfica, runners-up 2 years previously.
We were not in the best of form when we went there. Sacchi knew it. He hid that fact. But I think he knew we weren't up to playing with our youth.
There were 2 ways for the Benfica players to look at it. On one hand, caution, because Gullit is playing, let's be careful. On the other hand, with him having been out for 10 months, they'd be thinking, he will not be as fit as the others.
Even for us, it was a surprise when he picked him for the final. But we were happy because we knew Ruud's value, what he could do, even if he wasn't 100% fit.
We could have won everything, but we lost out on the league to Napoli. We lost the Italian Cup final against Juventus. And so, from the 3 trophies we could have won, we were left only with the final against Benfica, so we had to win.
It was a very tough game because Benfica were a very organised team. We weren't at our best, as we have been the previous year.
Great pass of Marco, and I was lucky enough to make the goal. We managed to win.
I have to say that the second European Cup was a lot harder than the first. May have been an extra pressure.
Just under 7 months later, Milan retained their Intercontinental Cup crown in Tokyo, beating Olimpia of Paraguay 3-0 with Rijkaard scoring twice. Sacchi had delivered so much, but in 1991 he brought his Milan career to an abrupt halt.
I was tired. I asked for everything and I gave everything I'd got. And I could no longer give my all. I was looking for a new challenge because I'd won everything.
His replacement was Fabio Capello, who had had a brief spell in charge in 1987.
It was difficult for me to return after so many years of success under Sacchi. Because I had worked away from football for 4 years, for most people, I wasn't really the most popular choice.
Capello kept faith with many of Sacchi's players and soon won over his doubters. The European Cup proved to be a step too far, but in 1992, Milan regained their Serie A title in fine style, without losing a game. Only Perugia had ever previously gone through a league season unbeaten.
I had the same opinion as Berlusconi in terms of keeping the side together. And that team became known as the Invincibles because we went 58 games unbeaten. That's a record. We won the title without losing a game, and the run continued.
1993 saw Milan defeated 1-0 by Marseille in the final of the newly established Champions League, but they did retain their Serie A crown, suffering just 2 defeats. However, their joy was tempered somewhat by the departures of both Frank Rijkaard and Ruud Gullit.
That I couldn't prove it because they didn't give me the possibility to show.
Milan coped admirably without their masterly Dutchman. A hat. Milan conceding 10 goals all season in the process. And once again they reached the final of the Champions League. They confronted Spanish champions Barcelona in Athens.
Barcelona were very arrogant when they arrived. They thought all they had to do was put on the shirt and they beat us.
I remember the team talk Johan Cruyff gave when he discredited Milan and disrespected all those great names who weren't in the best of form. That was obvious, but they were still there.
We were anxious. Up front they had Romario and Stoichkov, great players. Koeman as well. We respected them, even if they didn't play well. They were still a formidable team, but we didn't understand why they thought they'd already won.
Every time we read the papers and watched on television the things that Cruyff and the Barcelona players were saying, we just became more and more determined.
Catalan crowing would be silenced. Milan were missing captain Franco Baresi and Alessandro Costa Curta through suspension, yet they
relaxed us a bit more.
And after the break, there was no respite for Barcelona.
Savicevic, I remember, scored a goal from almost the touchline, with Zubizarreta out of his goal. From a technical point of view, the execution, it was a goal that won't be equalled.
Those players reached heights that they had never scaled before, and we could have beaten anyone. It gave me immense pleasure, most of all because when I'd started 2 or 3 years previously, it wasn't something.
Though a controversial public figure, Silvio Berlusconi succeeded impressively as president of Milan. Within 8 years of taking over also Rans in 1986, he had driven the Rossoneri to a multitude of titles, notably the Championship of Italy 4 times and of Europe on 3 occasions.
We had a squad of players who were very technical and physical, and had strong personalities. Everything a team needs to be great.
And not forgetting 2 innovative managers.
The great success of that Milan side was how they excited the fans, every team's fans.
AC Milan team in the end of the 80s, beginning 90s were special. We had a lot of good players in every position.
Milan are great for many reasons. They are the club with most titles in the world because there's a good president, a philosophy, a culture.
To say you've played for Milan, the most titled club in the world, is something special.